Hello friends, Nick here, back at you with another episode on Studio One. Today we're going to be checking out how to use track delay to make our drums sound a little bit more interesting so they're not so rigid and stuck to the grid, and we'll have a little bit of control over the feel and movement of our parts with this technique. So without further ado, let's dive right in and let's check it out. But before I go further ahead, make sure if you haven't, go down there, you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and let's get this show on the road. All right, so this is a little loop that I have set up for this video. Right, and the drums are pretty rigid. They are just right on the grid and they're not doing anything exciting. So what I like to do after I've programmed the basic idea of my drums out is I will right click, go to instrument parts, and go down here to explode pitches to tracks. So once you do that, all of our elements are going to be on a separate track. So we have our kick here, we have a snare, or hi-hat, sorry, and then we have our snare here. So then from here, we're going to hit F4, and this is going to bring up our inspector panel here. And you can see we have this delay option here. And what we're going to do is we're going to push and pull some of the, like the kick, the hi-hat, and the snare, so they don't fall right on the beat, so they're kind of in their own little space, and this is going to give some interesting movement to the track. So let me show you what I mean. So typically with like the hi-hats, I like to delay them quite a bit. So let's say we'll go for about like 20 milliseconds on this track. And with the kick, I usually like to delay it as well behind the beat, so maybe like 5 milliseconds will do for this, nothing too crazy. And then depending on the kind of feel and stuff I'm going with the song, I'm going to play around with the snare delay, but it's usually behind the beat a little bit, so it's coming before the beat, so a minus delay. That'll give it a little bit of a rushing kind of feel instead of it falling right on the beat and being very rigid. So let's listen to this again with the track delay enabled on all the different elements for the drums. Right, and you can hear it's already kind of has a little bit of a more of a groovy kind of feel to it. It's not so robotic anymore, and that was a quick change, and it made a pretty huge difference in my opinion. So let's keep this going, and let's mess around with some of these parameters to see how it affects the feel of the drums. see when we go back to 000 for all the track delays on each element, it goes back to not being so exciting and interesting to listen to. So that's basically it for this tip. It's a short one, it's a quick one, but it's not something that I see a lot of people demonstrating, and this is really useful for adding a lot of movement and interesting feel to your song. Another thing that you can do is you can take all of these and duplicate the tracks, and then what you can do is have different track delays for what am I doing here? So what you could also do is have different track delays depending on which part you are in your song. So when you go from section to section, you know, you can go from more of a lazy feel to more of a rushing feel, and that can really change the mood of the parts, which is really cool and really easy to do when you employ the track delay here in Studio One. So let's check that out. Let's do that again. Let's all right. It's subtle, but it's there, and those subtle little things can really add a lot to your song. So I hope you find this tip useful and you can employ it in your next song that you're doing with Studio One here. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell, and I will see you next time. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching.